This next guest is on a mission to educate and support those who are experiencing trauma from narcissistic abuse. Joining me now is sherrycanino. Hello and welcome, Sherry.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course. So will you share your personal journey and what inspired you to write about narcissistic abuse?
Sure. So my first experience with being with a narcissist was way back, well, probably my mom. I mean, she was never diagnosed, but my son's biological father was actually ended up getting diagnosed by continually taking me to court, wanting to get visitation. And finally, they brought in a psychologist, had us all, meet with him individually, and he got diagnosed as a narcissist.
Wow.
And, since then, my husband, he probably would have been diagnosed as a narcissist or maybe even a psychopath. And the last guy that I was with, so I went on my own healing journey of, why am I either drawing these people to me or being drawn to them? And it really definitely stems from, our childhood and how we're raised and just not feeling adequate and not knowing what real love is, what we need to learn to how to love ourselves. And basically that's been my lifelong journey, I guess. I didn't know that this lifetime was going to be that, but here it is.
And what would you say the turning point in your life, what was it that motivated you to share your story?
So at 51 years old, I found myself being arrested for, really it was self-defense. So being wrongly arrested and kind of really shook up my world. Just like, what the heck is going on? Like, who am I? And at that point, obviously being no contact and just soul searching of like, what is going on? Where am I going wrong with my life here? Like, this is not me. Something is definitely really not okay. And that was really the big turning point for me to like see where am I going wrong in these relationships. And you wake up one day and you're like, who am I? Because this is not me. So that was a big shakeup for me. And my son had to come bail me out, and it was just like the most humiliating thing, I think, in my life.
And what would you say some signs are of narcissism?
So, there's a lot of, it's really hard. People, they contact me and they want me to diagnose their significant other for them. And even really just even people who go to therapy for it, which is very rare, it's hard to get somebody diagnosed or to be diagnosed. But I mean, signs, there's this cycle that they go through, and a lot of it really is like they come in hot and heavy with, everybody calls it love bombing, but it's really idealization. So they idealize you, they look at you and they just project greatness onto you. They show you everything you think that you are yourself, and they find, there's somebody coming at you saying, oh, you're so smart, and you are probably all of these things, but it's things that we don't really see within ourselves because we're not feeling worthy. So, they start out with this idealization of you, and then something happens, there's a trigger, and it could just be anything. I mean, it really could be anything, because it's never about the victim. It's always about the abuser. And then they start to slowly devalue you, and it's little things. It's really the intermittent love and then discarding over time. And it's just their whole cycle. It doesn't stop, because it can't really be cured.
It's a
They
scary
can learn to
thing.
manage behaviors, but they can't be cured.
Wow. That's a really scary thing, honestly, to deal with. And how would you say your experience with narcissistic abuse, how has it shaped the way you approach life and relationships now?
Well, I think I'm going to probably stay single for a long time.
Period.
Um, I, you lose your sense of self and you lose the trust of yourself. And that's probably the hardest thing I think to get back is to, because if somebody came into a relationship and they were all bad all of the time, it would be so easy to leave, right? Would never have people coming to me saying, well, they're terrible to me all of the time. So, I'm just going to stay. It's the back and forth. And it's so very manipulative and covert that even though I think, yeah, I could probably trust myself now, but then there's a part of me that's like, huh, maybe not. And I don't know what it's worth to me to get into another relationship at this point. Um, I feel pretty good alone.
About to say, when
So
in doubt, just stay
it's
single.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not that I wouldn't love to have a life partner. It's just you really do lose that trust within yourself. And even though you learn to trust yourself again, the manipulation and the people are there. So I think when I feel like, yep, I fully am really loving myself, and I think I just will not be drawn to, because it really is, a lot of people like to say, well, they're drawn to us, but nah, we got to take accountability. We are drawn to them. They put on this facade that they're like the strong, supportive, masculine man. And, I can fully say I was drawn to that over and over again because I didn't have it in childhood. I didn't have a relationship with my dad. So I was looking for that, always older guys. My husband was 18 years older than me. This last guy, 12 years older than me. So, very drawn to that. I mean, I can see it. I can see my own cycle. I don't want to say I'm to blame. I'm definitely not blaming the victim, but I mean, I was to blame that was,
That's okay. You learn from it,
that was,
and that's how we go. Yeah. And where can we get your book? Or books, actually.
So it's on my website, SoulfullyWild.com, and also on, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, all the platforms.
Awesome. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a good one, okay?
Thank you. You too.
Of course. Okay, we'll be right back, you guys.